Welcome everyone to the Cindy Timchal weekly women's lacrosse media Zoom. We'll start off with each person being granted three questions for Coach. Bill Wagner with the Capitol. Why don't you start us off, please?
Well, Cindy, why don't you talk about the trip to Florida? Obviously, we talked to you after the Jacksonville game, but then
Yeah,
went on to play Florida. Kind of talk. How did the trip go overall, and when did you return?
yeah. Well, I mean, obviously coming up short with two one-goal losses in Florida wasn't what we aspired to. However, we felt like we got a lot of solid training in Florida, and I mean, it grew as a team. Um, you know, I mean, we had opportunities obviously to be, to win the game. So we're right in there in the mix and in the fight. We did come back right after we played Florida. We got back that night, um, which was on a Wednesday night, and then we got ready to host our, Patriot League opener against Colgate at Navy Marine Corps Stadium for Saturday.
And do you want to talk a little bit about how the Colgate game transpired? Obviously, put up 19 goals, a very strong offensive performance.
Yeah, we're very pleased, with our shooting percentage, our ability to, finish and really taking more control of our offense, limiting any, maybe unforced errors, which are always part of any sport. Um, yeah, solid performance. Colgate always gives us an incredible fight. As you know, when you follow them in other sports, they usually, you know, they usually have pretty solid athletes, whether it's in ice hockey or basketball or men's and women's lacrosse. So yeah, I feel for Navy it was a real solid effort. Reflective. We things were just little things that we had to work on, but happy with in our draw sets with Alyssa really getting back on track. Um, I mean, she competes on every game, but it was nice to have her have a solid game. And, you know, senior co-captain Emily Messines with a solid outing. And we kind of talked about it with Chris, kind of the bookends of having Emily Mess with a solid offensive outing as well as Alyssa Chung. So, yeah, there are things that we were very pleased and moving forward into our, second Patriot League contest, which will be on the road at Bucknell.
Well, this time last week, I asked about Alyssa Chung getting shut out by Jacksonville, and she scores 9 goals. Does that show the firepower and shooting accuracy she has?
Yeah, yes. Um, that's all great players maybe come up short in different games. Emily Mess takes it very personally about her finishing abilities and working hard towards that whole total team effort as well as her ability. Um, to really take on the offense. We changed up our offense a little bit after Jacksonville. I thought you might have seen some changes against Florida. We carried that on to the Colgate game. But Mess will always credit her teammates and a great leader on the field. And one of the biggest things too is the ability with Alyssa and Emily Mess and Michaela to really, control the draw and the draw offense in that circle, that starts really every goal. It starts the game. It starts each quarter. So it's real important for us.
White call.
I mean, how impressive is it for AC to do what she's done this season, to have the game she's had, maybe go into a little bit of a slump, but able to come out of it like that and to play like she has?
Yeah. Um, Thanks, Scott. I mean, Alyssa, um, it is a pure finisher. And she takes lacrosse very seriously as well. We mentioned earlier in our broadcasts about her taking, her schoolwork in the academy and serving her nation very seriously. So, we're just getting kind of in that, groove that we'd like to see, especially, we called that first season. Now we're into our our second segment, which is the Patriot League predominantly. And so we just really, really are, proud that, that we're working within our offense, finding those looks that we're trying to get and finishing when needed.
Back to the draw circle. I mean, it seemed like when you guys were doing so well against Colgate, the dominance and everything starts from there. I mean, kind of a cliche, but I mean, when you play like you do, like you did against Colgate in the draw circle, does that just make it everything follow in line?
Yeah, that's great comment, Scott, because it really does give the whole team energy. It gives you an ability to have, more possessions. I'm not trying to say, obviously, more offensive possessions give you more chances to get good looks, understand what you're facing on offense defensively. So, that's what we really do aspire to. But we also spend a lot of time when we don't win a draw. It seemed like, thought the officials did a solid job on Saturday, but many times if a draw person does in women's lacrosse, in men's it's a little different with the face off. But if you don't go up, it's supposed to be, like penalty, but many times they call it AP, which gives the other team, if they have the possession arrow, an opportunity. So we face some really, really good teams that are solid in the draw moving forward. And so we want to continue in that direction, Scott, of, putting our team in the best position. And really, it's really about boxing out, communicating with signals on the draw, and also, really, kind of, scrapping it out with the ground balls, as you can see or witness during the game.
You never know how timing is going to work out during a season. You come off the great trip, the bonding of the team, the tough losses in Florida. You have the big win in the first Patriot League game right back after that. And then you kind of have this time to regroup and reset now as you dive into the full body of the Patriot League, kind of have that week to get ready for Bucknell and what lies after them.
Yeah. I mean, all we're thinking about is Bucknell. We had, several players that were, we consider high load players that need a little extra, recovery after, playing at Florida and Gainesville on a Wednesday and returning at home on Saturday. But now that we're all in today, we're going to be out, practicing during our sets. We have a lot of individuals set up for a little extra shooting, a little extra defensive footwork. We kind of got back yesterday with a lot of basic fundamentals to kind of get the whole team locked in, but also little competitions, to keep it light, exciting. But today we'll lock it in a little bit more. But, it's a big road trip for Navy. Bucknell women, we're on the road at BU, gave them a tough game up there in Boston, come back. They're hosting us in their football stadium for the first time this particular season, and it's part of a doubleheader. I'm sure that you witnessed that Bucknell men, upset Colgate. They had a 1-4 record, upset Colgate, number 15 on the men's side. So, we're very vigilant. We've done our Get Better video yesterday and kind of in line with what we're going to train this whole week. Tomorrow we do our scout with Bucknell and, fully prepare with our scout units. You never want to get into a kind of not a trap situation, but as you know, when it comes Patriot League, anybody, Colgate came out firing, matching some goals for us. We finally got that separation, but, we just got to be ready as soon as the whistle blows and locked in. Again, as part of their doubleheader, I think Bucknell men host BU men, and they're like 6-1. So yeah, we're part of that. So I think it'll be exciting for us to go up to Bucknell and yeah, we got to be fully locked in and fully prepared, Scott.
Thanks.
Josh Strassmeyer, anything?
No, I'm good.
All right, circling back around, Bill Wagner.
Well, Cindy, I'm curious about the schedule. You play Loyola next Wednesday. That's a really, really big game for Navy women's lacrosse within the Patriot League.
Yeah.
I was kind of thinking you would like to have a week between games like you most often
Yeah.
do. Can you kind of talk about how that scheduling worked out? It doesn't seem ideal.
No, it isn't. And it changes next year in 2026. Um, you know, for 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 many teams in the Patriot League, and Loyola has been the team that goes out of the way to schedule, whether it's a Syracuse or Florida. They played Florida right before we played Florida. It's just really hard sometimes. We really want to get our RPI up, playing any of the ACC teams, which are relatively close, is it's really critical. And the NAAA and Scott and Chad all are bought into us, trying to play at the highest level and see where we stand, see if we can compete at that level. And sometimes, yeah, that game, in hindsight, it's not ideal for us. We've played them before on a Wednesday, and it was really part of, I do believe, trying to wiggle around our schedule to, I do believe that at one point Loyola plays a Syracuse somewhere in that, but they do travel up to Colgate. We go to Bucknell. We both come back. Um, so yeah, I agree with you, Bill, on that point. But we've got to step out on the field and be ready to play on Wednesday.
Loyola plays Syracuse tomorrow.
So it's Syracuse
Yeah,
tomorrow.
yeah,
Anyway.
yeah. And Wags,
Thank you, Scott.
the conference schedule is made by the conference,
Oh, I
and
know.
they were
Yeah.
trying to make the midweek games the close games, but
Yeah.
we did put in a request to the Patriot League, and Navy Loyola should be a weekend game because usually the magnitude of the game warrants a weekend game. And as far as I know, that request has been granted going forward.
Yeah. Thanks, Scott, for that clarity. But yeah, we just need that one extra. Well, we'll eat anyway. It is for us. We're just super excited about this opportunity. The Patriot League is where our focus is now. Can't look ahead of Buck now, and always Loyola is always in the back of our mind.
Also, that game is on CBS Sports Network next Wednesday as well.
So one last question for me. Ava Yovina coming back from a knee injury. How do you think she looks? Do you feel she is fully recovered, or is it a process that she kind of has to play through?
Yeah, she's fully recovered from the surgery, but post surgery, getting out, putting a lot of loaded minutes for her. I'm not going to speak about anything more than probably she's just a little sore. And we're managing that. We have an exceptional athletic training staff at the Naval Academy, and we manage all loads and all, recovery pieces, for all of our athletes, in particular, the high load athletes, like someone like Ava. It just may, again, take a few more games to back in. And I thought she had solid performances, particularly at, when we hosted Colgate. Like her to shoot a little bit more, but she's just such a team player. We're working on that, but it's great. It's great to have her back on the field, as you know, and kind of mesh and get really work the chemistry with the offense. She's a full-time midi, so she's up and down the field.
Bill Wagner, anything else?
I'm all good. Thank you.
Thanks, Bill.
Coach, how cool was the Jolly Rogers uniforms? The women, did they really groove on those?
Yeah. Anything that Navy football did in the fall, we're all in. And yes, the design, you got to credit, we have an amazing contract with Under Armour, and Kevin Playing has come down and spoken to the athletic staff, and Greg Morgenthau, they just did a great job, and putting, Navy women's lacrosse in some really, really sweet, uniforms to host, the games at home is really nice. And, our team loves the uniforms, and no better way to showcase Navy women's lacrosse and their Under Armour Jolly Roger uniforms. We're very, very happy with them.
And even in a bigger sense, what does that mean to the women knowing that they're that important, that the whole athletic department and Under Armour focuses on a special uniform for them?
Yeah, we just can't get enough of the uniform. At first, we were going to save it, and then we're like, we just got to showcase this. Whether it's an Instagram post or a picture or whatever it is. I mean, I felt like it was a winner, and so it does. We are very grateful and appreciative knowing that they've gone out of the way to really showcase. I think we have a, amazing team and amazing group of athletes that really want to put it out there on the field. And so no better way than to do it with the Jolly Roger and with, Under Armour. So I'm glad you took notice of that, Scott, because it's really special for us.
And also coming off the game at the stadium on Saturday and now going to play at Bucknell in their football stadium, does that fire up the women also playing on it's always a big stage when they play, but it feels a little bit bigger when they're in a college football stadium?
Oh, yeah, there's no doubt about it. And coming off, we are the second game of a doubleheader. The men play at 12, we play at 3. There'll be a lot of excitement, a lot of energy. Yeah, we like playing in front of that. Whether there, probably a lot of Bucknell fans, but we travel well with our fans too. We're never going to fill a stadium, but to be hosted in that environment always makes our game special.
Have a good trip and good luck.
Hey, thank you.
Coach Strasmeyer, you got anything?
I've said enough.
All right. In that case, we'll go ahead and end this. Coach, thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, for joining us, and we'll see you all next week.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Scott. Thanks, Chris. Thanks, Bill.
Thanks, everybody.